The hypothesis page in your student logbook is also going to be due tomorrow. Before we get to that, I want to note that the last name you typed in the upper right-hand corner on the experimental question page of your logbook has appeared now on every other page as well. So you don't need to touch that again. It is there, it's set. Please make sure that it continues to be there throughout the entire document. A hypothesis. A hypothesis is basically just a prediction, an informed prediction of what you think will happen as a result of your experiment. From this point on, when we write hypotheses, that's the plural of hypothesis, we want to use a specific format called the if-then format. In the if-then format, you start with an if, and the if is your independent variable. That's the thing that you're going to be changing in a controlled way as you execute your experiment. It continues with a prediction of if this thing is changed, whatever that variable may be, then, using that word then, something is going to result, and that's the dependent variable. It is based on, or hinges on, whatever the thing that changed was. When we write this if-then hypothesis, we start with if this is changed, then we go comma, then we predict that this is going to be the result. There are no I's in a good hypothesis, just like we had no I's on our purpose page in our experimental question or explanation of purpose. There will be no I predicts in our hypothesis. If you are testing more than two things, and that is totally okay, if that's you, make sure that your hypothesis is specific and tells the viewer, the judge, the teacher, the student, whoever is looking at your project, not just what you think will be the first outcome, but also what you think will happen second, third, and so on. I've created 3 model hypotheses. Hypotheses is the plural of hypothesis. Let's take a look at them. 2 of them are not so hot. One is about what I'm expecting to see on your hypothesis sheet. So hypothesis number 1 says, I predict that Bounty paper towel will absorb the most grape juice. Already, I see those words, I predict. We want to make sure that we avoid I when we are talking about our hypothesis. Also notice that my keywords if and then are missing. If I do this, then this is what I think will happen. So hypothesis number 1, even though it tells what I predict, it doesn't use the right format, and it uses that letter I. Hypothesis number 2, if, good start, Bounty, Scott, and Up and Up brand paper towels are used to clean up grape juice, then the Bounty paper towel will absorb the most grape juice. This is a solid hypothesis. We have the if, we have the comma then. We've talked about what we're changing, our independent variable following the if. We've talked about what we think the result of that change, that independent variable, will be after the then. But this hypothesis doesn't take things quite far enough. Because I'm testing 3 things, I need to be detailed and share the exact order that I think that these things are going to fall in my experiment. I've only talked about Bounty. My hypothesis hasn't discussed what I think will happen with the Scott and the Up and Up brand paper towels. So for that reason, even though this hypothesis is close, it's not exactly what we're looking for. Hypothesis number 3 says, if Bounty, Scott, and Up and Up brand paper towel are each used to clean up 50 milliliters of grape juice, then the Bounty paper towel will absorb the greatest amount of liquid, Up and Up paper towel will absorb the second most, and Scott paper towel will absorb the least. So I've been even more detailed, saying how much grape juice the paper towels are each going to have to attempt to absorb, and following my then, I have listed the order in which I think that these absorbencies are going to fall. I think Bounty will absorb the most, Up and Up the second most, and Scott paper towel the least. This is the best of the hypotheses that are written here as examples. Of course, your hypothesis is going to be different because you're working with different variables, you're testing a different essential question. The most important thing to remember is that your hypothesis starts with an if, and after the if, you're sharing what one variable you're planning to change. In my case, it's the brand of paper towel. In your case, it'll be something different. After you've told what you're planning to change, then your comma then tells us what you think is going to happen as a result of that change. Again, this is due already tomorrow, so make sure that you are focused. Ask if you have questions. Good luck.